At approximately 11:38, 911 calls were received that there was an active shooting situation at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce.
A quiet Friday morning, violently interrupted.
Unfortunately, we can confirm that 11 innocent civilians were shot.
Cries of heartbreak from victims' families quickly replacing the sounds of gunshots.
Just want my baby back.
A tragedy people in a city of just over 3,000 never saw coming.
When you think something like this happening, you usually think of the bigger cities, but it's in our back door.
It just has you scary because, you just don't know what to do anymore.
Now the sense of peace that was once there is crumbling down around the small town.
And these people had a family, and I hope they realize they done destroyed a community today.
More than a dozen people shot at a grocery store in Fordyce this afternoon. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Laura Monteverde.
I'm Bob Clausen. Here's what we know so far. 11 people injured. 3 people died. One officer also shot. Another was injured. Both are expected to be okay. As for the suspected shooter, that person also shot by law enforcement and is in custody.
This all started around 11:30 this morning at the Mad Butcher grocery store. It's located in the Mall Shopping Center on 4th Street in Fordyce.
We've got multiple crews out live for you this evening in Fordyce. We're going to dive deeper into details of what unfolded this morning, and we'll also get reaction from people who were there and saw it unfold.
Let's go out to Katrin Asaf first. Katrin, you had a chance to speak with the family of one of the victims. We heard a short snippet, and it is truly heartbreaking after what they just went through and are going to go through for a very long time.
Yeah, Laura, Bob, what you're going to hear today is the facts of what happened with this shooting, but more importantly, the stories of those who were caught in the middle of it, those who survived it, those who know someone who was a victim, and those who have passed away, the families of those who have died. I spoke to the parents of 23-year-old Callie Weems, who is a nurse here in Fordyce. She actually works at the Dallas County Medical Center, which has become the triage center of everything going on with this mass shooting. She has a 10-month-old daughter, which is what you can see in many of these pictures. Almost all of them feature her daughter to some degree because she was really the light of her life. Her parents tell me she always said, Mom, Dad, I never complained about staying home with my daughter because she is so entertaining and I just love being a mother. Now, Callie was off on Friday. She wasn't working as a nurse, so she was over at the Mad Butcher grocery shopping, something that everybody does on their day off. And her mom, Helen, says that she was tracking her on her phone when she heard that there had been a mass shooting in Fordyce, and she saw that she was at the hospital. She figured as a nurse she had been called in order to better help the community as they're dealing with this very heartbreaking time, but that unfortunately was not the case. Callie was not a nurse today. She was a victim at the hospital. Her parents still trying to wrap their minds around what exactly has happened, and really they say she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
She's off on Fridays, and she always goes get groceries on Fridays, and she come to the grocery store and picked a bad time.
And the family of Callie Weems, Helen, and Bruce also told me that their family is also grieving a second of those 3 deaths. They said their niece's father was also someone who had passed away in this shooting. That's just how small this city is, that everyone knows somebody who was involved in this. But for one family to be grieving 2 of the 3 deaths is really just heartbreaking. It's something that I don't think many of us can really grasp, just the depth of their grieving. But of course, this is just one aspect of the many different stories that are coming out of Fordyce in the midst of this mass shooting. Tylisa Hampton has been on the scene really since this all began. She was one of the first who arrived, and she has much more on what exactly happened. So Tylisa, tell us, what have you been able to find out?
Yeah, Katrin, everyone that we spoke to in Fordyce says that this mass shooting is heartbreaking. Now, you can see that we're in the middle of the road. That's because they blocked off the area right down there. That's because just over this way is where the shooting actually took place. You can see the caution tape around this area covering up a vast amount. That's just because you can also see that around the ground are still shell casings with markings. Now, police have told us that it is a wide variety that they were canvassing this area. You can can see that just by the amount of caution tape up. Now, the officials with Arkansas State Police say at 11:30 they responded to a shooting at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce. Now, that's going to be the one with the red lettering with the white right there. That's going to be the Mad Butcher grocery store where the shooting happened. Now, during a press conference around 3:30, they say that 11 victims were shot. 3 of them were killed. 2 police officers were also shot, but are expected to be okay. They did add that the person who was the shooter was shot by police before being taken into custody. We spoke to Tina Jackson. She says her brother was one of the victims shot. She says that something like this is completely heartbreaking. She never imagined it.
It's scary to be here in our city, in Fordyce, our city, to have something like this to happen. But my brother did get shot. He's going to be okay. He got grave shot in the head, him and his wife, but he's going to be okay. But it just has you scary because, you know, you just don't know what to do anymore. It just has you scary because, you know, you just don't know what to do anymore.
Now, we also spoke to a man by the name of Ronald Clayton. He says that he was in the parking lot when the shooting happened with his wife. He said that their car actually had 20 bullet holes in it. He says that he and his wife were not struck by any of the bullets. They thank God for that. But he says during the time of that shooting, he did huddle over his wife because he says that if she did get hit, she is the best thing that has ever happened to his life. So he did not want her to get hurt, and she did not, neither did he. Now, we should have more information later on. Arkansas State Police said in that press conference they're working to update. They have not released any information on the shooter, but when we have that, we'll make sure to update you on air and online. Reporting in Fordyce, I'm Talisa Hampton. Back to you, Katrin.
Talisa, thank you. And of course, when we are dealing with such a tight-knit community here, the other aspect is those first responders, those who are dealing firsthand with the aftermath of a mass shooting of this caliber. Madison Gaffner is in front of the Dallas County Medical Center where triage was happening as these victims were being brought in. And Madison, I know you've been able to talk to some folks over there today.
Katrin, like you said, I'm here at the Dallas County Medical Center, which is right up the road from the Mad Butcher, where the mass shooting took place earlier today. Acting as that triage location for many, I was able to get a statement from administration. David Mantes at the medical center said that our team is devastated as we mourn the loss of one of our dear employees in this senseless event. They also report that this morning we had 13 gunshot victims roll into our doors to our 4-bed ER in about 1/2 an hour. We are truly sorry this tragedy happened. Administration is absolutely heartbroken, along with many families of victims. I've been able to visit with some of those families. However, they did not want to speak with us on camera, as this is a very emotional time and as they wait in the unknown. All are completely devastated and unsure of why the shooting took place. When we first arrived to the scene, one person described the events like it was out of a movie.
It made me feel real bad, and feel bad to see something like this happen. To see all this, all these police cars and all that stuff, like we'd up and I'll be in California somewhere seeing something like this. But it's right here in Little Fordyce, Arkansas.
Many families still inside the hospital grieving as they wait. The hospital sharing with us earlier today that they had staff off coming in and even retired staff coming in to help during this tragedy. I'm Madison Gaffner reporting live here from the medical center with KRK4 News. Now back to you, Katrin.
Certainly a difficult situation there, Madison. Thank you so much. And by the way, Bob and Laura, we just got word that the gunman, the suspected gunman in this case, is being transferred to the Ouachita County Jail. So, of course, we are going to get the latest with that as that person is tried, if they make their first court appearance, whatever the situation is there. But as for here in Fordyce, just a situation where the community is still trying to wrap their minds around what exactly happened here today. Again, 11 shot, 3 dead. We know 2 law enforcement officers were injured in this. The shooter was also injured with non-life-threatening injuries, and just a terrible situation that no one expected to happen in this city of just over 3,000. Back to you.
Adrian, thanks very much.
Our Gary Burton Jr. is standing by live with what we're learning about the suspected shooter. And coming up later in our newscast, Katrin Asaf and Madison Gaffner are talking to people who knew the victims and those who are mourning the losses tonight.
But first, Tylisa Hampton joins us live in Fordyce from the scene of today's mass shooting and breaks down what happened. Tylisa.
Well, Donna and Kevin, the scene here in Fordyce where this mass shooting happened at earlier, completely different now at night. As you can see, the road is back open behind us, and there's not as many law enforcement in the area anymore. There's still some hanging around this area, however, completely different from earlier. Now, just about everyone that we spoke to today says hopefully something like this never happens again in their community.
It's scary to be here in our city, in Fordyce, our city, to have something like this to happen.
The small town of Fordyce, Arkansas was sent into a state of panic on Friday when bullets started to fly. Of the shooting captured on video by this viewer sending it to us. Arkansas State Police say around 11:30 a.m. calls came in about a shooting at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce. More than a dozen people were shot or injured. 3 people were killed.
I ain't seen this since I was in the military. People low enough to ride by and shoot at innocent people. You know what scum is? That's what floats on top of sewage.
2 police officers were injured but are expected to be okay. Officials with the Ouachita County Sheriff's Department say the suspect is identified as 44-year-old Travis Posey. The sheriff says Posey was grazed in the head. His injuries non-life-threatening.
Law enforcement responded immediately and exchanged gunfire with a lone suspect.
As police have Posey in custody, Tina Jackson says her brother was one of the victims shot.
He's going to be okay. We got grazed shot in the head, but it just has you scary because you just don't know what to do anymore.
As police investigated, caution tape surrounded a huge area and multiple shell casings on the ground. Some people seen hugging each other, while others were thankful that they made it out of the shooting alive.
I didn't realize nobody was shooting until I got out and the bullets was bouncing off the car.
Ronald Clayton says he and his wife were in the car in the parking lot of the store when chaos began.
But it's kind of hard to explain when you pull in the grocery store and somebody shoots at you 21 times.
Thankful neither of them were injured.
The good Lord was looking after us.
Although police didn't give any details as to what led to the shooting, Jackson warns others as she hopes nothing like this happens again.
This should be an eye-opening for anyone.
And although police kept that press conference pretty limited with the information they chose to give out, you know, a lot of people that we spoke with said they do want answers as to what led up to this shooting, what was the motive, things of that nature. And we'll work to find out those answers. Reporting in Fordyce, I'm Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
All right, Tylisa, thank you. And as you heard her say in her story, the suspect in this shooting has been identified as 44-year-old Travis Posey. He is in jail tonight.
Yeah, and we're told he was injured in that shootout with police. Our Gary Burton Jr. following this angle of the story. He joins us live tonight in Ouachita County where Posey is being held. So, Gary, what else can you tell us about this suspect?
Well, 44-year-old Travis Eugene Posey is from a small town of New Edinburgh, Arkansas. Now, he was booked here at around a little bit before 6:30 here at the Ouachita County Detention Center on first-degree murder charges. Now, I spoke with Ouachita County Sheriff David Norwood, who says that Posey was immediately transferred by helicopter to UAMS in Little Rock after booking. He says Posey was grazed in the head during the shooting. Now, Posey is accused of shooting 11 civilians, killing 3 of them, and also shooting 2 law enforcement officers at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce. Now, Fordyce, it's located in Dallas County, but as I mentioned, Posey was transported and booked here at Ouachita County. Now, Ouachita County Sheriff Norwood, he didn't give a clear answer as to why Posey was brought here, but he said that keeping the suspect safe is the responsibility of the Sheriff's Department. Now, Posey is charged with 3 counts of capital murder, and according to the Arkansas State Police, additional charges are pending. We'll be sure to keep you updated as we learn more on Travis Eugene Posey. Live in Ouachita County, I'm Gary Burton Jr., Fox 16 News.
Do we know why Posey was shooting? Who his intended target may have been? Some questions still yet to be answered, it seems.
Yeah, Bob, Laura, that's exactly right. There are a lot of questions that are still left to be answered and information that we are working to learn more. We don't have anything confirmed in terms of why that shooter did end up opening fire, and we are still hoping to try and get more information there. But I can tell you that here, people are just grieving. In fact, the family I spoke to could be called inconsolable. We're here in front of the Dallas County Medical Center. This is where I met the parents of a 23-year-old victim who not only worked in this building, but this is also where she drew her final breath.
I checked Callie's location because good old Life 360.
When Helen Browning first got word that there had been a mass shooting in Fordyce,
and it showed she was at the hospital.
Her first instinct was to check on her daughter.
I'm thinking she's at work. She come in to help. She was in town.
23-year-old Callie Weems, a nurse at the Dallas County Medical Center.
Maybe she was there and she got wounded. My baby's fine.
With a busy tone from the hospital and radio silence from Callie, Helen and Callie's stepfather, Bruce Grice, rushed to the scene, only to be met with a horrific truth. Callie wasn't a provider that day, but a patient.
My best friend was standing right there, and I said, Christy, tell me my baby's okay. And she said, I can't. And that's when I just broke.
Callie Weems, mother to 10-month-old Ivy, had been shot and killed while grocery shopping, the victim of a mass shooting her parents can't wrap their heads around.
I just want to know why Joey Posey woke up this morning and decided he needed to go ruin family's life.
The grief goes deeper. Of the 3 killed in the gunfire, Helen and Bruce are related to 2.
Our niece's dad was in there also, and he's no longer with us. So that's a double whammy to our family.
From silence to nothing but noise.
This is evil and senseless.
As phones ring with alerts over and over, reliving the tragedy with every text and call. But now Helen has a new call to make. How to raise her granddaughter, suddenly left without a mother.
Ivy was her saving grace, just as she was mine. And now Ivy gets to be my saving grace, too.
And I want to leave you with something that Bruce said. He said he's thankful. He is thankful to God that they had those 23 years together with Callie, even though her life was cut short. Just an incredible message to send that after all this tragedy, he still is finding the hope.
We both were at the scene together earlier today, and it was just breathtaking for all the wrong reasons. I'm at the Ouachita County Detention Center, which is where the accused gunman, 44-year-old Travis Eugene Posey, was booked at a little bit before 6:30 this afternoon. Now, although he was booked here, Fordyce is located in Dallas County, and the people I spoke with in Fordyce, they say that that's a city that it seems like everyone knows everyone. So for something like this, for a mass shooting to take place in a city like Fordyce, it's just soul-snatching. Over a dozen people shot.
I was like, what?
3 people dead.
I was crying. I was nervous. I was having a breakdown.
At the Mad Butcher grocery store in a town with just a little over 3,000.
I never saw something like this happen in Fordyce, Arkansas.
We don't have to worry about this type of stuff, in our town because it never happened, and then boom.
This community left bruised after bullets, buggies, and bodies were scattered.
I just keep thinking in my head, why?
Amaya Doherty was in the parking lot as the shooter was unloading rounds.
I heard, and he had shot at my mama's car, and it was the tire.
A scene out of a horror movie.
I was praying, holding my sister's hand, because I was scared.
Still can't even believe that it's real.
Fordyce is home to many who host this place near and dear.
I've been here 60 years of my life.
For about a year now.
All my life.
But June 21st will now live as the day this city will never forget.
I wish people would spread more love instead of hating.
We got to come together.
What a day. And throughout the day on Facebook, on social media, I've seen so many Pray for Fordyce posts. Let's put those words to actions and really give Fordyce our prayers because they definitely need them during this time. In Ouachita County, I'm Gary Burton Jr., Fox 16 News.